Welcome to Write to Publish, your go-to podcast for all things writing and publishing. I'm Karen Stanley, a 14 times published author and the founder of Mabel and Stanley Publishing. Join me as I share a multitude of tips and insights drawn from my own writing and publishing journey. We'll be hearing from some inspirational authors too, who will share their writing experiences and top tips for success. Each week, we'll learn about an aspect of writing, from composition to genre and from publishing to marketing. Listen in as we learn and chat about all things writing and publishing, and let's get you on the right path.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Write to Publish with me, Karen Stanley. And today I've got another one of our author guests on. We're running author interviews throughout July and August, and these will be scheduled on the podcast. So you may be listening a few weeks down the line. And we're talking to some of the Mabel and Stanley authors and other authors as well about their journey, about how they found in it, the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations of writing a book and actually getting it out there. And today I'm joined by the lovely Aileen Coleman, who's going to talk to us about her book, about the process, how she found it, and whether she'd do it all again, really. So, hello, Aileen. Nice to meet you.
Hello there, lovely.
Good to see you here. So, do you want to tell people, obviously, a little bit about yourself and what your book's called?
So I am a special needs teacher. I trained many years ago to be a teacher in mainstream secondary and quickly swapped over to special needs, where I found my niche. I loved working with the children in school, but I found that it was quite limiting for English lessons to find text that was appropriate for their age but still fun, and at their level. So they were, a lot of the children were sort of teenagers but working at Key Stage 1 level. So I started writing a few things that I thought they might find appropriate and fun, and they did. And then I went to a different special needs school for children with speech and language difficulties, and it was a fairly similar scenario there. They were a little bit older, they were Key Stage 2, and the text that was aimed at their level, I had read to my children many years ago. So I just felt that there was a little bit of room there for more fun text, something that they felt fun. And then I also trained to be a Pilates teacher in 2015. And there wasn't anything out there when I did my training for children Pilates. There wasn't really anything out there that I felt would engage children. So that's really why I wanted to combine the two different things that I found quite lacking. So a book that would be fun for children to read, that they'd want to read, and a book that would inspire them to move and get away from screens.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, well, yeah, we do a lot of that, don't we? And so your book's called Nanny Annie at the Zoo, isn't it? So anyone who's watching on the visuals can see Aileen's beautiful book there. And it's really about a really cool nanny who is super fit and can do all these kind of cool movements, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And encouraging the children to join in. So, you know, that's really good to know what your inspirations were for the book. How did you find the book writing process, first of all?
Well, it wasn't too bad, actually, because I had been writing a few things in the past, and so I had a ready-made audience there to see what they really liked, to see that things that really didn't float their boat. So it was much easier for me because my target audience was already there, already prepped, and I kind of knew what worked for them. I'm sure that most people will find this. Half the thing is having the confidence in yourself to think, do you know, I'm going to have a go at this. And I felt such an imposter trying to write a book and then come and show it to you and think, you know, this could have legs. So for me, it was the confidence to write something, show it to the children. That was actually probably the easiest part, but then taking it out to a wider audience. It's just have the nerve, because in your head you might read, I don't know about you, but you read books and you think, oh, that was good, but what they should have done. And you know, or when you go and watch a film and you think, oh, that was brilliant, but maybe the ending should have. So in your head you kind of know that you've got that, you know, the creativity. It's just having the nerve, the confidence, and the support. Really, you do need really good support. That's where you came in and would really scoop me up, and that was fantastic. But for anybody out there that I think has got ideas, just have the courage to write it down and take it to a few people.
Yeah, it's a scary part of the process, because you are quite vulnerable at that point. You are leaving yourself open to criticism or you know, opinions that, you know, but you know, I think you've touched on a couple of important things there. One of them is, you know, you knowing who your target audience was, and you were really in that place. So you were in the school, and brilliantly you were able to test drive your product on your on your readers, and children can be quite brutal. If they don't like it, they'll tell you.
Best audience ever.
So really you had the best beta testers or ARC readers in the world. So that was really good. And obviously as a teacher you really understood that audience, didn't you? You had a lot of experience knowing, because when I work with authors, we talk a lot about, you know, who's your audience, who's your ideal reader, make sure your tone and voice is appropriate. So for you, you were in a really good position there, weren't you?
Yeah. I had all the market research I needed right at my fingertips.
If only they knew. So obviously for you, your book is a children's book, and it's a picture book. So that kind of throws up different challenges, doesn't it, in that obviously you need to get that illustrated. We worked together with Emily on that. I'm not an illustrator at all. I wish I was, but I'm not. So how did you find that part of the process?
Do you know, that was really easy, because I'd drawn out roughly what I'd thought, and all the silly sort of speech bubbles around it. I'd drawn out roughly what I'd thought, so it was just literally showing Emily my ideas and showing her books covers that I quite liked, and ones I felt appealing, and then the ones that I thought were really groovy and of a particular time now, I gave a couple of the children selection of books to look at, and I said, which one would you choose? And it was really interesting that they kind of literally went for the most colourful, you know, so I tried to put books that were fairly unknown to them, because obviously they're always going to go to the ones that they're familiar with. But they just did. They went for the colourful books, anything that had a dinosaur or a spacecraft on it, you know, that sort of thing. Obviously, my book's not about that, so I just had to hope that they'd really like the animals. But it did work. They really liked the cover, and they loved the illustrations.
And that's, again, you're doing your market research there, aren't you? You know, quite often, again, when I work with authors, I say, well, have a look at books in your genre. What have they done on the front cover? What have they done that's made that book jump out at you, or not, as the case may be? So let's have a talk about the positive. What did you enjoy most about the process, about your writing journey, would you say?
I think finding out that someone had faith in me it was just such a boost, because you know, I had been lacking in confidence, and this had been rattling around for a very, very long time, and I'd shown quite a lot of people, and they kept on saying, just get it out there. And it's not as easy as that. It's not like you think it's going to be. You can just, you know, show it to a few friends, hopefully someone you know is in publishing and all that sort of thing. It's not as easy as you think it is. So it sat on the back burner for a very, very long time. So that, for me, being scooped up and being told, this has got legs, you know, you are an author, that was lovely. That was such a positive experience. I just started taking it into other schools, and again, that was really wobbly, taking it into completely different children. Most of the children were neurotypical in mainstream school. So I didn't know what to expect, but the feedback has been really lovely.
That's good.
So that's been a really positive aspect. Just the feedback has been
Yeah.
so lovely. Yeah,
And there's
really
been
nice.
some lovely photos of you dressed as Nanny
Nanny
Annie in
Annie.
your grey wig. And I mean, and you know, if we talk about promotion in a
Mm,
minute, you know, that's been you promoting the book. So
yeah.
let's talk about what have you found the most challenging about the process?
The most challenging, I would say, is the marketing. I know nothing about marketing, and I was going to have a team around me that were gonna that wanted to take it over and do the marketing for me when they were being made redundant, and they thought that was a really good idea. Now they've all got jobs, they've just sort of left me
It's rude.
left me do it. Rude, very
Yeah.
rude. It was brutal the way they dropped me. And they sort of give me snippets of advice, but it is such a totally different world to the world I'm used
Yeah.
to that I find the marketing really difficult.
Mm.
And it takes up quite a lot of your headspace as well.
Mm.
You have to be organised, and you have to get a consistency going. And I've kind of put it all on the back burner because it's, you know, teaching and everything. But now it's the summer holidays, I've got more of a plan going forward. But life does get in the way. We've got a wedding coming up and all that sort of thing. But it is trying to be really consistent with your promotion of the book. I've got a few more schools lined up after the summer holidays. So I would say for me, that's the most challenging part. And when I reflect on the whole process so far, the writing of the book, that was the easiest part because you're in your own
I
little
hear
cocoon,
that. Oh, I
you
hear
know,
you.
you're
Yeah.
in your own little bubble, and it's really lovely. And working with you, working with Emily, the illustrator, has been just lovely. But it's the after bit. That's
Yeah.
the tricky bit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And do you know what? Of all the interviews that we've been doing this week, it's the same message. And so many authors sort of will come away and say, well, I've written this book and no one's buying it, and it's, well, no one knows it's there. And
Yeah.
it is really a slog, isn't it? And
Yeah.
it can be very overwhelming,
Yeah.
particularly if you're not a marketer, which
Yeah.
most teachers, I would say, that's not part of their job. So it's a
No.
real alien part of the job.
Yeah.
It requires consistency, it requires dedication, it requires the learning curve for some people. You know, I think probably the younger generation, not so much, but maybe our generation, we didn't
Yeah.
have Facebook, Instagram,
No.
TikTok, or, you know, we're not used to doing that kind of thing. So
No.
that's
No.
quite a journey, isn't it?
Oh, it's been a massive learning curve for me. I was never on Facebook. My daughter put me on Facebook for the business, for the Pilates business. And I don't know what I've done, but they've banned me. And then I put and then I put things up on Instagram, and my daughter's in charge of it. She's got like some sort of access to it, and she says, "Get that down. That's not funny. That's not appropriate." So
Yeah,
I'm just a little bit.
yeah,
You
it's
think you're going to
tricky.
be really sort of come from the heart and full of integrity, but it's not. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's
Sometimes it's just
tricky.
not appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for you, I would say that probably the most powerful bit of your marketing is going to be getting out in front of your audience,
Yeah.
i.e., the children who are going to read that book. And going
Yeah.
back to that's why I've asked you this question about the challenging part, because I figured I kind of guessed what you were going to say.
Yeah.
But seeing those videos and photos of you out in the schools in your
Yeah.
funny granny wig and, you
Yeah.
know, reading the books, you know, that's really going to be the most powerful piece of marketing for you because
Yeah.
that's where your target audience are hanging out, aren't
Yeah.
they? You know,
Yeah.
5-year-olds are hanging out in school, they don't do much else. So, you know, that marketing, I think we can go down the avenue now because we've become so digitalized. We think that
Yeah.
the only way to market something is on social media and the only way to
Yeah.
do it is online, when actually the most powerful part of your marketing is to go out in costume, reading it to the kids telling their parents that, you know, book fairs and
Yes.
all of that kind of thing. And schools, I think, are really on board, even more
Yeah.
so than ever, with authors because they're looking to inspire children and show them what careers could be out there and showing them how just a normal person can write a book if they want to. They've just got to,
Yeah.
you know, feel their passion and
Yeah.
be brave enough to try. So I think there was never a better time to take a children's book out into the world, really.
Yeah. I know. I think that that's really important as well because lots of schools are desperate for authors to come in.
Yeah.
Really, you know, it's been quite surprising how receptive they've been. And I've made a little lesson plan for them, all about how they could be an author, how the children could be an author, then how they could write their book. And then I've also done a little lesson plan with slides on questions to ask an author. So before I come, they've done 2 or 3 lessons building up to that. And then I've given them a little worksheet. It's really simple. ChatGPT is just fabulous. It really does help you out. And then they come with little questions to ask me. So I kind of know what they're going to ask me. Some I've had a bit sort of like left field questions, but it's been all okay. And then they've got a follow-up lesson afterwards. Was there anything different that they found out? So for the teachers that are really, really sort of stressed, particularly towards the end of term, it's a really lovely. It could be just done in a week, really, and then you turn up. It's a really lovely, and of course you could make that secondary school level if your novel is a bit more adult in theme. So that's a really good way to get into the schools.
But even if you've written a children's book, there will be kids in secondary school who are looking to maybe go into illustration, or it's just about those aspirations, isn't it? And understanding that if you believe in something, it might take a bit of scouring around and looking for the right people to support you, but anything's possible. And I think for children and young people, it used to be, the careers service when we were kids used to get the fire brigade would visit on the last day of term, and that was about, if you didn't want to be a fireman, it was kind of, or firefighter, it was kind of the thing. So I think they're thinking much more about, there's so many careers out there for kids and young people. Why not? If you're a brilliant writer, why not pursue something in writing? Why not pursue something? So I think it's lovely. I love that.
Yeah, really good.
Well, it's been really lovely speaking to you, as always. So before we go today, what would be your top tip for someone thinking about writing a book or maybe starting new?
Oh, 100% get writing. Really dedicate some time. Everybody's busy, and I get that. And I'm number one world. I'm gold medalist in procrastinating. But I did sort of set myself just a target of 5 to 10 minutes a day, just sort of getting into Nanny Annie. And the thing is, the worst part of it all is actually starting it, and then all of a sudden that 10 minutes becomes 20 minutes, and it's taken up most of your evening. And before you know it, within the month, you've written your book. And if you can do that, write the book, that's it. And you've cracked it. If you can just have the confidence, keep reading other people's material, just compare, give it to a few friends for a really harsh criticism, and maybe even give it to a reading group, a book club. See what they might give you some really good feedback, but just start, and then
I think
the rest.
Stephen King says the hardest part is right before you start.
It is really. But even if you're on holiday for a week in Spain or whatever, just set yourself first thing in the morning, I'm going to write 1 paragraph. And before you know it, once you've got all comfy and you've written that first paragraph, it just springs onto other things.
Becomes a guilty pleasure, doesn't it? And then you become very motivated. It's just ripping that plaster off, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Some wise words there, Aileen. Thank you so much
for
joining
you're very
us today.
welcome.
Thank you. And for those people listening, if you want to buy Aileen's book, it's called Nanny Annie at the Zoo. The illustrations by the lovely Emily Lucas are gorgeous, and it's a really charming story. Oh, she's done a great job.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And lots of opportunities for interaction for the kids to be bending and stretching and getting active. So that's a wonderful thing. So thank you for joining us, and thanks you to all of our listeners for listening in today. We'll see you all again soon on Right to Publish, and thank you for tuning in. Let's get you on the right path.
Thanks, Karen.